Very good evening, friends. Hope so I'm audible. Right. So today, the next 5 days, we'll be having the general orientation about reading NCERT, geography NCERT particularly. Okay. So today I'll be starting with, say, for example, the very first NCERT of class 11, the fundamentals of physical geography. At least 2 days, that is today and tomorrow, we'll just somewhere, we'll see that how exactly this fundamentals of physical geography of NCERT has to be read. Okay, right. Now, see, a few things I have to clarify before we are getting into it. See, one more thing. Here, this class, the entire NCERT of class 12, 11 and 12, somewhere we are somewhere trying to cover it in 5 hours. It means only what is important somewhere we'll be taking for our consideration. Only that somewhere we'll be studying it. Okay, right. So, what I'll do, somewhere I'll just give you an overall idea how one should prepare for competitive examination, particularly civil service examination, right, based on NCERT. If you ask me, right, is this NCERT the source of questions? If you ask me, I would say no. NCERT is not a source of question, but rather NCERT is a source of knowledge, right? The very fundamental basic ideas somewhere I can develop using NCERT. Okay, so that's what the logic is all about, right? Having said that, today there are four NCERTs, my dear friends. Geography, class 11 and 12 put together, we have four NCERTs. Class 11, we have two NCERTs, and both NCERTs talks about the physical geography. The very first NCERT, what we call them as what fundamentals of physical geography, talks about world physical geography, right? Then we have India physical environment, which talks about Indian physical geography. Class 12 is about human geography. One, the fundamentals of human geography talks about the world human geography. Number two, we have a book called as India, People and Economy, right? That India, People and Economy talks about human geography of India, right? Okay. Now, I'll start with, say, for example, this class 11, part A, fundamentals of physical geography. And if you ask me, right, what are the topics we are going to discuss today? And one more thing, as I said, see, when I talk about this fundamentals of physical geography, totally how many chapters are there if you ask me? Totally, right? Say, for example, there are 16 chapters. Put together, there are 16 chapters. Okay. What is that I can say, for example, read once, then I can leave it if you ask me, right? Repeated revision is not needed if you ask me. I would say there is a chapter called as Geography as a Discipline, right? So this geography as a discipline alone, my dear friends, what we can do, you can read once, right? That should be more than enough. Repeated revision is not needed. But rest of the, say for example, chapters, at least, say for example, I would prefer that Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, and Unit 5, right? This is very, 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 very important. You should go for repeated revisions. I'm telling you again, NCERT may not be the source of question, but somewhere understanding says NCERT can give you a very strong foundation. Still, with the knowledge of NCERT, some of the questions can be answered. For example, I'll show you, right? Some of the questions which is asked this year, my dear friends, right? One such question which was asked this year, for example, right? 2023 preliminary examination question, and yesterday the result was also out. Okay, before some of the institute, before even they release the key, UPSC has released the result itself. Okay, whatever it is the case, right? See, this was one question which was asked this year, right? With reference to Earth's atmosphere, which one of the following statement is correct? Okay. See, I have taken two snapshots, screenshots of NCERT, right? Whatever it is there in NCERT, the snapshots I have just given it, right? Say, for example, there is one statement, my difference. Say, for example, statement A, total amount of insolation received at the equator is roughly about 10 times. 10 times of that received at poles. Okay, that is a statement given. But how I am somewhere eliminating it, if you ask me, I am eliminating this with the knowledge what I have taken from NCERT. Read it. They say spatial distribution of insolation, right? Even say, for example, the watermark, you can see NCERT written at this. Okay, right. See here, they say insolation received at the surface varies from about 320 watt per meter square in tropical areas. Tropical areas is the one where the maximum amount of insolation is somewhere received. Okay, to about 750 watts per meter square in the poles. Correct. Equatorial region receives less than that. Okay. Even if I take equatorial region at to be receiving the maximum one, right? 700 versus 320, if you ask me, somewhere it is 4 to 5 times, not 10 times. Okay. So what I'm just trying to say, this question or this statement somewhere I am eliminating using the knowledge what I have taken from NCERT. Again, say for example, one passage says, okay, the atmosphere is largely transparent to short-wave solar radiation. Okay, right? Short-wave solar radiation. The incoming solar radiation passes through atmosphere before shrinking the Earth's, before striking the Earth's surface. And within the troposphere, water vapor, ozone, and other gases absorbs much of near infrared radiation. Correct? And see the third statement. Infrared waves are largely absorbed by water vapor. That's what the statement says. Correct? Within the troposphere, water vapor, right, ozone and others absorbs near infrared radiation. Okay, somewhere again, right, the knowledge what I derive from NCERT, somewhere I can use it to arrive at an answer. Okay, that's the reason. Somewhere this, I'm just taking one example from the NCERT which says that yes, somewhere if I have a stronghold in NCERT, my basic knowledge in the subject will be. But of course, if you ask me, is it only reading NCERT for the subject like geography? Is it enough for me to qualify this examination? Normally, the answer is no, right? Because see, this examination needs some SOPs. What is a basic SOP? Step by step, if you ask me, I would say if you want a very strong foundation, better you start your preparation with NCERT. Correct? And my dear friends, normally they say, normally see, preliminary examination is a book-based examination. Mains examination is a topic-based examination. Okay, book-based examination in the sense normally people will be saying that I should read cover to cover, which edition, MRP, everything people will be reading. That is not needed. What is more rewarding? That you should concentrate more. The number of revision you have to increase it more. Okay. So having said that, somewhere I believe that this geography as a discipline, once you can read it, right? Once you read it, just superficially, if you read it, that should be more than enough. But when it comes to the rest of it, right, you have to say, for example, go for in-depth analysis. And here also, let me mark it for preliminary examination. If you ask me, right, unit 2 versus unit 3, which is more important? If you ask me, I would say unit 2 is more important for preliminary examination. Okay. Similarly, for preliminary examination, unit 5 and unit 4 is also important. So today, my dear friends, I'll be taking with, say, for example, this unit 2, that is the Earth, we'll be talking about. When I talk about Earth, the origin and evolution of Earth superficially, the internal structure of the Earth or interiors of the Earth, that is very, very important. Distributions of oceans and continents also we'll understand. Minerals and rocks are the basic ideas we just developed, right? Geomorphic process, considerably a longer topic that also I'll tell you how exactly I can concentrate. Then I'll talk about this landforms and their evolution one by one. See one thing, 7 chapters, not even 7 chapters to be very precise, 6 chapters we are going to take today, right? And already 10 minutes, say for example, the general orientation, I have just given it. So hardly somewhere around 8 to 10 minutes, I can say, for example, invest on each and every topic, suggesting what exactly is important for us. Okay. So in that regard, my dear friends, so starting from this unit 2, right, the Earth. Okay, and one more thing, let me also tell you, any NCERT you take it, always you have a session called as, say, for example, this glossary, right? Glossary. See, glossary gives you some of the very important terminologies, very important terminologies. Uh, I always say that, say for example, right, randomly you can select it and you can go through these terminologies. Okay, because I'll tell you, terminologies is those, say for example, unique words or important words that belongs to geography. For example, If I say, for example, right, instead of explaining, right, a process, if I use words like, or say, for example, right, the terms like adiabatic lapse rate, air masses, etc., somewhere examiner also understands and believes that yes, this candidate knows about the subject, something like that. Okay, that's what always we say, that every subject has its own language. So what makes your language as a subject oriented language, if you ask me, these terminologies. So try to have a basic understanding about the basic terminologies and try to use these terminologies at the right place, particularly for mains examination. Okay, right. So having said this, my dear friends, starting with this earth, right, starting with this earth, origin and evolution of this earth, right. See, there are n number of theories, my dear friends, n number of theories. Okay, right. There are, say, for example, only thing is that if you ask me, right, what are the popular theories, if you ask me, when I talk about this origin of this earth, right, what is very, very popular, right, if you ask me, it is a theory which is called as what? Nebular hypothesis. Nebular hypothesis is what? Very, very important when it comes to the theory as such. Now, see, what is that term I should look for in any chapter? What I take it, I'll tell you, right? Once you read it, you'll be finding, say, for example, some terms or words that is given in italics, my dear friends. Okay, you have to concentrate on these words, right? Italics. For example, nebular hypothesis is given in italics. Okay, some of the places, some of the other books, you'll be finding it is given in italics as well as bold. Bold font it will be given, but here it is only given in italics. I'm telling you, whenever you read any NCERT for that case, right, wherever, say, for example, this italic font is given, concentrate on it. Am I right? Right. For example, right, I'm just reading it, right? Nebular hypothesis. A large number of hypotheses were put forth by different philosophers and scientists regarding the origin of Earth. One of the earlier and popular argument was by German philosopher Immanuel Kant. Mathematician Laplace also revised it in 1796. It is known as nebular hypothesis. Okay, what nebular hypothesis approximately talks about, right? Somewhere you understand here. Only thing is that it says that a large, say, for example, nebular means a kind of a gas. Am I right? Nebular hypothesis considered that the planets were formed out of a cloud of material, right? Maybe instead of gas, I should have told it as cloud. Cloud of material associated with youthful sun, which was slowly rotating, right? Somewhere, consider that a wandering star approached the sun. As a result, a cigar-shaped extension of material was separated from the solar system. As the passing star moved away, the material separated from the solar surface continued to revolve around the sun and it slowly condensed into planets. Only thing is that he says that how, say, for example, the cloud of material eventually, say, for example, became almost a cigar shaped or a disc shaped structure and eventually started rotating the sun and eventually became what? Planet. Okay. Somewhere, if you remember that the origin of Earth, one of the most accepted theory for origin of Earth is what? This nebular hypothesis. Am I right? And one more thing. Nebular hypothesis not only talks about the origin of Earth, it talks about the entire origin of what? The solar system. Am I right? But when I talk about Big Bang theory, my dear friends, Big Bang theory, right? Big Bang theory is about the universe. Nebular hypothesis, somewhere I understand it is somewhere approximately around 4.8 billion years ago, approximately. When I talk about, say, for example, this Big Bang theory, it is somewhere around 13.6, 13.7 years ago. Okay, so what is what, right? What is Big Bang theory? What is nebular hypothesis? Approximately, right? You have to somewhere you read it. Okay, I repeat again. Big Bang theory explains the formation of universe, whereas nebular hypothesis explains the formation of solar system along with the Earth. Right? Okay. What is what? Somewhere you concentrate. Okay. And my dear friends, right? Going by the same logic here, the Big Bang theory is explained just somewhere you go through it, you read it. Okay. And again, say, for example, when it comes to the star formation, right? Again, if you're looking for some italic words, right? There comes what? One light year. Okay. They have also defined what exactly is a light year. Okay. Light year is nothing but what? A unit of distance right? Which is used in what? Space. What exactly is a light year within the box item also they have explained it. Okay, right. Now, fine. So this particular topic gives you a rough idea about the formation of universe, about the formation of Earth along with our solar system, right? And there is also, say, for example, theory suggesting the formation of what? Moon. So moon, like Big Bang theory, we have a theory called as Big Splat theory, right? So Big Splat theory is the one. Again, you may find something which is given in what? The quotes. Okay, big splat theory. Okay, right. I repeat again, whatever is given in italics, whatever is given in quotes, these are the one what you have to suggest. And see, normally we have a habit of underlining each and every word, particularly for the first time if you read any book, my dear friends. You feel that every word is important. See, obviously, I'm not denying the fact every word is important. But normally, we say that any competitive examination, the mantra is limit the study material and maximize the revisions. Because once you have plenty of material, revision becomes very complicated. Okay. So that's the reason always we say limit your material and maximize your preparation. Right? Maximize the revision as such. Now the question is, why should I maximize the revision if you ask me? Somewhere we always say it is about strengthening your retrieval cues. Okay. And let me tell you, my difference. Retrieval cues, how exactly this retrieval cues will work if you ask me. Right? If I have, say for example, assume that I'm highlighting it, right? Say for example, right? I'm just highlighting it, right? Somewhere if I highlight a very important word, right? Again, if I'm just looking, say for example, the book, somewhere if I'm reading through the book, right? Over a period of time, what happens? Once I see this particular word, the entire paragraph will strike my mind. Okay, this is what big splat theory talks about. This is what Big Bang theory talks about. This is what nebular hypothesis talks about. Something like that. Okay. So what I normally recommend, first time when you read, you better underline it. If at all, if you want to underline it, you underline the terms, words by pencil. Second time, maybe a darker pencil. Only third time, if you can use a highlighter or a pen, you can underline it. Okay. Because every time you read, you will start feeling, okay, entire paragraph is not important. Only this particular word is important. Something like that. Okay. Right. So look for these terminologies, what I said. Okay. Right. And one more thing, when it comes to this evolution, geological time scale, right? A geological time scale may difference. Uh, just have an approximate idea. Geological time scale uh, will tell you an overall evolutionary process of this earth, entire timeline of this earth, right? From the origin, my dear friends, till today, it is divided into different eras. For example, I told you, right? According to NCERT information, Earth's age. When exactly Earth had its formation, if you ask me, according to NCERT information, it is 4,800 million years ago. Sometimes you can also rewrite it as what? 4.6 billion years ago. Okay. Sometimes you can rewrite it. Okay. Now, whatever it is the case, minor, say for example, difference is accepted. Minor difference is accepted. Right. Now, from the beginning of the Earth, am I right, till the time of solidification, this era is marked as Precambrian. Cambrian. Otherwise, sometimes some of these sources you will also find this era is given as Azoic era. So this Precambrian or Azoic era normally extends from, according to NCERT information, 4.8 billion years ago, or I'll write it as 4,800 million years ago to 570 million years ago. Okay. So this time or this particular era, Earth was slowly, steadily, say for example, solidifying. Right? Only say, for example, during the later part of this Precambrian epoch, the life in Earth almost started. Okay. So this is the time when, say, for example, landform was almost having its formation. Okay. And my difference, all the landforms which had its formation during this Azoic era or Precambrian epoch, very popularly we call them as what? Shield. For example, you would have heard about Deccan Plateau, Chotanagpur Plateau, right? Far Eastern Tableland, Telangana Plateau, Bastar Plateau, all these are shields. They are the one which got formed during this particular period. Okay. So what you have to do? Approximately Precambrian, that is when Earth had its formation, right? Some of the very important events you can note it down. Okay. Some of the very important events. And one more thing, they said atmosphere rich in carbon dioxide. See, one small information. See how small this information is. Atmosphere, right? This is the time when atmosphere had its formation. NCERT talks gives you only one line. Atmospheres, right, are rich in carbon dioxide. And my dear friends, if you remember, once one question was asked. Okay, uh, if possible, I'll get this question. Okay, I'll get this question. Just to tell you that. Okay, this was the question that was asked in 2018 examination, right? 2018 examination. See, only one line, with one line, one word, right? Somewhere it gives me an idea that how exactly I can arrive at a right answer. See, it says, okay, the information says, right? Somewhere I'm just reading about Precambrian, right? One small table that is given in NCERT, right? And it says Precambrian era is the one where atmosphere had its formation. Okay, Earth itself had its formation. There, degassing led to formation of atmosphere. And it said atmosphere is rich in carbon dioxide. It says rich in carbon dioxide. Okay, right. And read the question which was asked in 2018, my dear friends. Right. Read the question. Right. One of the statements says, when Earth was created more than 4,000 million years ago. Correct. That is Precambrian epoch. There was 54 percentage of oxygen and no carbon dioxide. But what exactly NCERT statement says? NCERT statement says atmosphere which had its formation was rich in what? Carbon dioxide. See the statement. Okay. But what exactly the question says? Question says, right, there is no carbon dioxide. It means directly I can eliminate two. If I'm eliminating two, B I can eliminate, D I can eliminate. Correct? I have a choice between A and C. Okay. Both the statement, one is there. So my decision, right, I can take it after reading this third statement. Okay. When living organism originated, they modified the early atmosphere of the earth. Obviously, yes. What has reduced the level of carbon dioxide and on the other side increased the share of oxygen, if you ask me, it is the flora. Flora played a very important role. Okay. More than fauna, flora played a very, very important role. Photosynthesis is the process which started capturing this atmospheric carbon dioxide and stored in the form of non-atmospheric form, right? If you do it, technically we call them as what? Carbon sequestration, correct? That's the idea, right? So what I'm just trying to say, one or two words in NCERT, my dear friends, it gives you a clue that what exactly this question is all about. Okay, right? Just read the table, right? Just read the table. Okay, that should be fine enough. Okay, very, very important. Only the very important aspects. Okay, not everything. Only the important ones I have to read it. Okay, right, my friends. Then again, Paleozoic era, somewhere around 245 million years to 570 million years. What has happened? Okay, somewhere they say this is the time when marine invertebrates, say for example, started having its right formation, Cambrian. And Cambrian time, there was no terrestrial life. Terrestrial means land. Life on land was not there. Am I right? Slowly, steadily, one side you can also see the evolution of the life. Okay. Then comes Mesozoic era. Some of the very important, right? Major events they have marked. Okay. Just read this geological time scale. Okay. So, chapter one, the very first chapter, if you ask me, right, I would say just try to understand about, say for example, nebular hypothesis overall. What is nebular hypothesis? More than enough. Okay, right. What is Big Bang Theory? Again, right, somewhere look for it. Okay, then again, say for example, they simply explain the formation of this Big Bang Theory. Okay, right, solar system, right, somewhere, whatever if they have given as the italics word, only that somewhere you can write. You can somewhere read it. They have given the differentiation between inner planet and outer planet. This inner planet and outer planet can sometimes also be called as what? Terrestrial and Jovian planets. Okay, what is what? Somewhere you read it. Okay, then when it comes to moon, already I said, just look for big splat theory, more than enough. Rest, directly say, for example, when it comes to evolution of this lithosphere, right, just go through it. Okay, right, just go through it. And see, my dear friends, again, let me show you one statement. They were talking about this evolution of lithosphere. While talking about this evolution of lithosphere, right, read it. And when it comes to the last statement, see, from the crust to core, the density of the material increases. That and all, it is okay. Yeah. Coming to evolution of atmosphere, at one stage it says, the composition of atmosphere was modified by living world through the process of photosynthesis. Correct? Read the 2018 question, my dear friends. When I read the 2018 question, see, when living organism originated, they modified the early atmospheres of the earth. Okay, right. Now again, I'm telling you, good number of questions I can answer with the knowledge what I have in NCERT. Okay, right, fine. Now coming to chapter 2, right, the second one. So unit 2, chapter 3 to be very precise, interior of this earth. See again, uh, as of now, the internal structure of the earth is very, very important for n number of reasons. For example, last year there was a news suggesting that inner core of the earth stopped its rotation. And now, say for example, you would have heard about China somewhere trying to attempt, right, they have proposed a project, right, in a place called as Taklamakan desert, right, somewhere, say for example, they are trying to drill as deep as possible. The projected depth says somewhere they have an objective of reaching the depth of somewhere around 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers. And if you ask me, if at all, if China is reaching 10 kilometers, will that be the deepest drill of the earth? If you ask me, answer is no. Right? That is not the deepest drill of the earth, because already Russia have attempted one somewhere around 12,600 and somewhere 12,262 meters of depth. Say for example, Russia have already, say for example, drilled it. You would have heard about something called a Skola super deep borehole. Okay, but still, why exactly China is going for it? Why Russia has gone for it? If you ask me, very simple: to understand the internal structure of the Earth. Am I right? So somewhere internal structure of the Earth always it comes in news, and very recently, right, repeatedly it was there in news. So I believe that for any examination for you prepare, this particular topic is very, very important. Okay, right. And when I talk about this the internal structure of the Earth, my dear friends, right? When I talk about the sources of information, right? Earth's radius, everything, right? Somewhere. To be very precise, if you ask me, it is 6,378 kilometers. But okay, one book you follow, good or bad, you go with that. Am I right? Okay. If I am feeling NCERT, I'm just taking NCERT. Obviously, I understand different books you read. Say, for example, right? If you want to compare NCERT with GC Leong book, obviously there will be some difference. But don't worry about this difference. See, last year, one major error was removed. Right? What was that error? Whether the same error I have in this NCERT or not, I'll just see. Right? Right. Okay. Whatever it is the case, my dear friend, somewhere some of the basic information it gives you. What is the radius of this earth, right? It gives you. And now comes the question, what gives you the sources? How exactly you identify that this is what lies in earth's interior, right? Say for example, if I say these are the different layers in earth's interior, how exactly I would have derived this information? If you ask me, there are two types of sources. One, you call them as what? Direct source. And two, you call them as what? Indirect source. What is direct source? Very simple: collecting the samples directly from the Earth's interior and accordingly declaring that, okay, this is how this Earth's interior looks like. That is direct source. Somewhere if you cannot collect the samples from Earth's interior, but say for example using other projects, if I say, right, other methods, if I say that that's how this Earth's interior may look like, I call it as indirect source. Very recently also you would have heard, right? Say for example, they have identified that mountains of Antarctica has a deep roots, more deeper roots than that of Himalayas. How exactly they have confirmed? Very simple, by using this artificial seismic waves. Am I right? So here, NCERT gives you a very brief, say for example, they give you an idea about what is direct source and what is indirect source, right? Somewhere we'll understand what is direct and indirect source. Okay. And what has given, right? The larger idea, if you ask me, it is indirect source. And particularly, my difference, earthquake. Okay. Earthquake played a very, very important role in identifying the internal structure of the earth. Okay. See here, in this particular chapter also, they talk about earthquake, but they do not talk about earthquake in a very detailed fashion. Okay, somewhere talked about earthquake, explaining that how exactly earthquake played an important role in, right, identifying this Earth's interior as such. Okay, particularly there are two types of waves, right? You call them as what? P wave and S wave. And one more thing, my dear friends, when I talk about this P wave and S wave, okay, see the source of NCERT. They talked about this P wave. Any earthquake you take it, there are two pair of wave that is produced. Okay. In that way, when I talk about different waves, my dear friends, and they have also given you the arrival timing, right? So according to these images, it shows that any seismograms you take it, P wave will be the one which reaches the surface first. Okay. Let me also show you one more question that is asked this year. Okay. Again, this was the question. This was asked this year, my dear friends. This year, 2023 question. See this, read the statement. In a seismograph, P waves are recorded earlier than S wave. Okay, this is a statement that is given. We'll see whether we are able to answer this question with the help of NCERT. If you ask me, yes. Okay, it says there are two types of body waves. They are called as P and S wave. P wave moves faster and are the first to arrive at the surface. Right? That's the reason they are called as what? Primary wave. So very easily, directly they said that yes. Say for example, I can answer this question with the help of NCERT itself. Okay, right. Okay. And one more thing, see the second statement, one more statement I'll give you. The second statement they say, in P wave, the individual particles vibrate to and fro. To and fro means parallel. Okay. In the direction of the wave propagation, whereas S wave, the particles vibrate up and down. Up and down means perpendicular, right? At the right angle to the direction of wave propagation. And again, see NCERT, right? When talk about NCERT, right? Other three, say for example, other three waves vibrate perpendicular to the direction of the propagation, right? The direction of vibration of S wave is perpendicular to the wave direction. Okay. Somewhere, what I'm just trying to say, small words, small sentence in NCERT, if I can understand, right, very clearly, right, I am there in a position to somewhere answer the questions in, right, the examination. Okay. Now, only thing is that what I'm just trying to convey here, the topics which is very important for your preliminary examination, you mark it here itself if you want me to give you that list. Okay. See, today I have taken the case of, right, these six chapters. If you ask me, okay, among the six chapters, what is very important for me for my preliminary examination, if you ask me, without any second thought, I'll tell you this unit 2 is very important. Unit 2 is very important. Okay. Okay. Somewhere you can mark it, my dear friends. See, I would recommend that NCERT at least once or twice, you should read the entire book. But when it comes to maximizing the revision, right? In today's class, I feel that unit 2 is very, very important. Every year, if I just take the questions, right, I can have some of the questions which has a, right, say for example, if not every year, I should call it as, okay, at least say for example, more number of questions, I can take it and somewhere with one word or two words, I can somewhere, right, have an idea, develop an idea with the knowledge what I possess in NCERT itself. Okay, right. Minerals, rocks, geomorphic process, landforms and their evolution. Yes, I can somewhere study. I'm not denying the fact, but in-depth analysis is not so important. Am I right? See, rocks, when I talk about rocks, last year mains examination, they asked about rock. I'm not denying the fact. I'm not saying that they are not important. Okay. But when it comes to, say, for example, right, topics which is very important for prelims, obviously speaking, I have to somewhere differentiate it. Okay. Right. Okay, right, my dear friends. Now, how exactly the internal structure of the Earth have been identified with the help of earthquake waves, right? That's the reason, as I was saying, we say that earthquake is something like, say, for example, is a window to Earth's interior. Seismology is a window to Earth's interior. Just kindly, if you read it, you'll understand. Now comes another question: how exactly? I'm just say, for example, somewhere, right? I'm coming to a conclusion that, say, for example, this is how, right, Earth's interior may look like, right? What exactly, using what waves or what exactly the concept of earthquake, I'm declaring the Earth's interior. If you ask me, there is a concept called as shadow zone. What is the shadow zone? I'll tell you. See, yeah, luckily shadow zone is given here. As I said, earthquakes, any earthquake, during an earthquake, my friends, different set of waves will be produced. From the focus, from the hypocenters, you have this body wave that is produced. There are two waves. One is P wave and S wave. See, P wave, if I just take the wave property and others, wave property, right? What I understand, P wave can travel via both solid and liquid medium. Any medium it propagates. Okay. But when I talk about S wave propagate only via solid medium. S wave will dissipate in liquid medium. And somewhere, if I start recording the S waves, my dear friends, it is not that all part of the earth S wave is recorded. Nearly half of the earth on the other side of the focus, that is 105 degree to 105 degree on the other side of the focus. Other side of the focus, my dear friends, this S wave is not recorded. The combined geographical location where this body wave is not recorded, largely we call them as what? A shadow zone. We call them as a shadow zone. Okay. Now here comes the question, right? How exactly shadow zone helps us in understanding the internal structure of the Earth? It is very simple. The presence of S-wave shadow zone strongly suggests there is a large layer in Earth's interior which is made up of liquid, or the state of matter is liquid. Because I know S-wave do not passes through what? Liquid medium. See, for example, if I take any solid object which is not transparent, assume that it is opaque, right? I am somewhere placing it in the path of the light. So wherever I am facing it, I understand on the wall or wherever the light is falling, shadow will fall. Something very similar to it, right? S wave cannot propagate via this layer, right? The outer liquid core, right? So somewhere I understand this S wave shadow zone is formed. So repeated analysis of the shadow zone is the one which has somewhere resulted, right? Somewhere resulted in giving you a broad idea about the presence of liquid layer. Then you may wonder, then how come P wave is having a shadow zone? See, we know whenever a wave enters from one medium to another medium, right? One medium to another medium, my friends, always we find that some small, right? A very light, right? Deflection will be there. Technically, we call them as what? Refraction. Okay. The multiple refraction is the one which has caused what? P wave, shadow zone. So presence of P wave shadow zone strongly suggests there is multiple layers in Earth's interior with different density and different state of matter. S wave shadow zone strongly suggests that there is a presence of liquid layer in Earth's interior, right? That's how Earth's shadow zone, sorry, the earthquake helped us in knowing the internal structure of the Earth, right? So once I know the internal structure of the Earth, right, then I should talk about the different layers. Then comes the crust. See, I have two different types of layers. One I call them as a compositional layer, and two I call them as what? A mechanical layer. Knowing the compositional layer is very, very important. Crust. And one more thing, my dear friends, so there is one paragraph here you find it, right? Uh, Somewhere it says there are two types of crust. One is oceanic crust and continental crust. Okay. And this particular para, new NCERT, it is removed because this old NCERT, say for example, the previous copy, we have it. This I feel it is more like a typographical error because according to the statement, according to this para, it says that continental crust is heavier and oceanic crust is lighter, right? They have given, see, the mean density of the material of oceanic crust is somewhere around 2.7 grams per centimeter cube. That is absurd. Oceanic crust is somewhere around 2.9 or 3 grams per centimeter cube. Okay. So this particular para, new NCERT, you will not find it. Okay. New NCERT, it stops here. With the Himalayan region, it stops. Okay. So somewhere try to understand what is crust. The outermost composition layer, we call them as what? Crust. Understanding two types of crust is very, very important. One, you call them as what? Oceanic crust, and two, you call them as what? Continental crust. Okay. The basic difference between oceanic crust and continental crust, you can take it. Okay. Then comes mantle. Okay. Then comes mantle. The middle layer, the largest layer. Am I right? You call them as what? Mantle. And within mantle, you have a layer called as asthenosphere. Also understand what exactly is asthenosphere. Okay. See, asthenosphere is the layer where exactly we have the presence of magma. Whenever this volcano erupts, right, where exactly this magma comes from, if you ask me, this magma actually comes from what? This asthenosphere. Okay, right. So somewhere I have an idea, right? What exactly is, right? Crust, what is mantle, what is core. Okay. And when I talk about core, my dear friends, core itself, I can divide them into two layers. The outer layer you call them as liquid core, and the inner layer you call them as what? Solid core. All the basic information it is given here. Okay. And this chapter, my dear friends, since we talked about, say for example, this asthenosphere, where the magma comes from, here itself we study also about what? Volcanoes. Okay. So what is volcano? Kindly somewhere read it. Right. What are the different types of volcanoes? Right. Based on shape, that also it is given in NCERT. You can, right, somewhere study about the same. And see, geomorphology, when I talk about landforms, how exactly volcano forms or results in landform formation, that is also explained. Okay. Volcanic landforms, both intrusive and extrusive, both are explained. Okay. Some of the examples of intrusive volcanic activity is also given. What is intrusive? See, volcano I can understand. Now comes the question, what do you mean by volcanic activity, if you ask me? The magma coming to the surface, we call them as what? Volcanic activity. Once this magma comes to the surface, this magma will form different features. That features we call them as what? Volcanic feature. And among them, one such mountain which is formed, volcanic mountain which is formed, that is what we call them as what? Volcano. Right? Among them, there are different types of features that is formed. If the magma is coming to the surface and forming a feature, you call them as what? Extrusive features. If the magma is somewhere solidifying well within the surface of the earth, we call them as what? Intrusive features or intrusive forms. Whatever you're seeing here, you call them as what? Intrusive. Sometimes also called as what? Plutonic rocks. Okay. Whenever it is cooling on the surface, you call them as what? Volcanic rocks. When it is somewhere cooling in the crust, you call them as what? Plutonic rocks. Okay. Right. Some of the, say for example, such features you find it. Batholith, stalk, dike, laccolith, sill, etc. Okay. That is what they have given. What is what they have given it. Okay. Right, my dear friends. Fine. So this particular chapter has three very, very important components. What are the three very important components? Number one, the internal structure of the earth. Number two, earthquake. Number three, volcanoes. Okay. So I rate that this particular topic, along with one, this particular topic, right? This particular topic is very, very important. Interiors of this earth. Okay. Now coming to this unit 2, chapter 4, distributions of ocean and continent, where I should concentrate, I'll tell you. And between this, my dear friends, let me also right bring this piece of information that June 22nd, a separate batch, an exclusive 1 year batch will be started. And of course, comprehensively, this batch will be covering 100% of the syllabus in an integrated manner. Right, June 22nd it starts. Okay, and students of Unacademy platform, of course, will be started. Say, for example, in this Unacademy platform, and of course, till 17th of June, there is also a limited period offer. A 25% offer goes on, right, both for GS as well as optional subject, right? And the option, say, for example, this code is also given. So kindly make use of it if you are in need of the same. Okay, right. Right, my dear friends. Coming to this chapter number 4. Chapter number 4. See, distributions of oceans and continents. Now, when I talk about this distribution of ocean and continent, first comes one very, very important concept topic. Mains examination also, this particular topic is important. Prelims also, it is important. Continental drift theory. Way back in 1912, there was a scholar called as Alfred Wegener. He was a German climatologist, meteorologist or climatologist, both are same, right? Say, for example, he's the one who presented the concept called as continental drift. See, before this concept came in, we never had an idea what exactly this theory was. Or at least I'll put it this way, right? We never had an idea that the land where we stand, where we live, where our buildings are there, we do not know that they are moving. Alfred Wegener was one of the first scholar who said that the land where we stand itself is drifting. He says that continent is drifting. Before that, we never had an idea, right? The complete perception in geography has changed after continental drift theory. Okay, right. Right, my dear friends. What is continental drift theory? According to him, how exactly, what made him to propound this theory? Right, somewhere we have to backtrack it. Right, according to him, we strongly say, for example, what made him to propose a theory, if you ask me, very simple. Uh, if you take this world map, any world map, my dear friends, any world map, this theory was not given. Okay, okay, theory was not given, only it was explained. Any world map you take it, you'll be finding there is a very close similarity when it comes to the shape of the coastlines. So what happens? He started somewhere going for a reverse engineering. He started somewhere, right, trying to reconstruct the history of this earth. So he strongly believed that, say, for example, all these continents, according to him, somewhere it looks like a jigsaw fit. All these continents, they fit with each other. Even today, if you see the world map, right, somewhere all the continents, it appears that, okay, like a jigsaw fit. Particularly, if not all the continents, Africa and South America alone, somewhere it appears that you can take both the continents and you can fit it with each other, right? So this is the thought process what somewhere Alfred Wegener was thinking, and somewhere he tried reconstructing the entire earth and history of this earth, and he said once the geological past, there was only one continent that existed, right? A supercontinent called as Pangaea. Only Pangaea existed, and this Pangaea was all side surrounded by the super ocean called as what? Panthalassa. Okay. And slowly, steadily, he said how this Pangaea got divided into two landmass. The northern landmass called as Laurasia or Angara land. The southern landmass was called as what? Gondwana land. Okay. How subsequently, say for example, they drifted and formed today's map of the world, he talked about. And he also talks about the evidence in support of this continental drift theory. Okay. Somewhere you look for this evidence also. Okay. Then, my dear friends, what is very, very important? Continental drift theory is very important. I'm not denying the fact. Okay. But what is very, very important, I'll tell you. This topic called as plate tectonic theory is very important. Plate tectonic theory is very, very important. Okay. I can see this is one holistic theory. See, actually, this particular topic largely we'll be discussing only about 3 chapters or 3 concepts. One is the continental drift theory of Alfred Wegener. Number 2, the seafloor spreading. According to the concept of seafloor spreading, what exactly they say? The floor of the sea keeps on spreading. According to them, they say new oceanic crust will be formed near the place of divergence. and old oceanic crust will get destructed along the place of convergence. So, according to them, they strongly believe that this ocean floor, like a continuous conveyor belt type of a movement, they go for a kind of a cycle. Am I right? They go for a kind of a cycle. Okay, they say somewhere strongly believe that ocean floor keeps on what spreading. See, one small clarification. According to seafloor spreading, they believe ocean floor is spreading, not the ocean per se. What is very interesting? Pacific Ocean floor is spreading, but Pacific Ocean is shrinking. Okay. Once you read this particular, say for example, seafloor spreading, somewhere you will get to know that what exactly the term is all about. Okay. Right. Now, my dear friends. Okay. Right. Somewhere seafloor spreading is one theory where I have to concentrate. Then comes plate tectonic theory. See, according to plate tectonic theory, entire lithosphere, my dear friends, entire lithosphere, it is divided into different plates, at least 7 major plates, and say, for example, nearly 20 minor plates, my dear friends, right? Nearly 20 minor plates. Okay. The minor plates, they are not given, but 20 minor plates approximately I can take it. Okay. What are the 7 major plates, right? For example, Pacific plate, North American plate, South American plate, African plate, right? Eurasian plate, Indo-Australian plate, Antarctic plate, etc. Okay. Now, they strongly believe that all these plates are somewhere floating over an asthenosphere. And all these plates are moving from place to place. That movement of the plate is what plate tectonic. See, Alfred Wegener's continental drift theory and plate tectonic theory, there is no much difference. The concept, what they are trying to convey is more or less similar. But plate tectonic theory will help you in understanding the locational aspect of all endogenic forces. That's the reason endogenic forces itself is called as what tectonic forces. Right? For example, when talk about fold mountain formation, block mountain formation, genesis of an earthquake, right? Having a volcanic activity, formation of tsunami, formation of ridge, etc. If you ask me, all this has one commonality. Locationally speaking, they are confined to plate boundaries. For example, right? Wherever I have a plate, see Himalayas, plate boundary, Rocky Mountain, plate boundary, Andes, plate boundary. Am I right? Say, for example, all the trenches of the world, Aleutian Trench, plate boundary, Kuril Trench, plate boundary, Japan Trench, plate boundary, Philippine Trench, plate boundary, Marianas Trench, plate boundary, Tonga Kermadec Trench, plate boundary. Am I right? Say, for example, Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the Dolphin Ridge, plate boundary, right? The South Atlantic Ocean, what do you call them as Challenger's Ridge, plate boundary. Am I right? Every feature you take it, right? I find, say, for example, right, albatross plateau, plate boundary, am I right? All these features you find it, they are formed along what plate boundary. And very recently you would have also heard the news that Africa is splitting into two, am I right? So somewhere I understand that is also located along what the plate boundary. So plate tectonic theory is also very, very important, very, very important, my dear friend. So somewhere look for this plate tectonic theory. Only 3 theories you have to somewhere, right, talk about the same, right? While talking about plate tectonic theory talks about different types of boundaries, right? What is convergent, divergent boundary, and transform boundary, right? 3 types of boundaries also it talks about. And here it also talks about the movement of Indian plate and the collision of Indian plate with what? Indo-Australian plate. Okay, right. Now, when it comes to the rest of the topics, my dear friends, okay, when I talk about this landforms, right? Landforms, particularly when I talk about minerals and rocks. Okay. Have a general reading, but when I talk about rock, where to concentrate on this rock, I'll tell you. See, when I talk about rocks, right, where to concentrate, I'll tell you, right? Only that much you read it. Okay. That should be more than enough, right? Um, Different types of rocks. There are 3 major types of rock. What are the 3 major types of rock? If you ask me, one, you call them as what? Igneous rock, right? You call them as what? Igneous rock. And 2, you call them as what? Sedimentary rocks. And 3, you call them as what? Metamorphic. So what is igneous rock? Any rock that is formed out of solidification of magma, you call them as what? Igneous rock. What is sedimentary rock? Eroded material somewhere getting deposited. Eventually, say for example, with the passage of time, temperature and pressure, if it getting compacted, it becomes sedimentary rocks. Similarly, with the passage of time, temperature, and say, for example, the pressure, if the property of the rock itself is changing, it becomes metamorphic rock. Sedimentary rock can also become metamorphic rock. Igneous rock can also become what? Metamorphic rock. Okay. So what is this igneous? Igneous rocks, because directly it is coming formed out of the magma. And this, say for example, magma. This rock is also called as what? Primary rock. Sometimes you call them as igneous rock or primary rocks. Last year, the question asked was what? Primary rocks. Okay. So what is igneous rock? Somewhere read the character. And what is very, very important is to know some of the examples of this, say for example, igneous rock. Okay. Right. All these examples are very, very important. Right. All these examples are very, very important. Similarly, when I talk about sedimentary rocks, what is sedimentary rocks? And the examples of sedimentary rocks is again very, very important. The same thing when I talk about metamorphic rock. What is metamorphic rock? And knowing the examples of metamorphic rock, that is important. Okay. Then you also concentrate on rock cycle. See, this rock cycle, one single diagram is more than enough. What exactly they say? Simple. You have magma, right? Any rock that is formed out of solidification of magma, you call them as what? Igneous rock. Correct? And say, for example, from igneous rock, weathering and erosion will be depositing and forming what? Sedimentary rock. Igneous rock can also become what? Metamorphic rock. And my dear friends, metamorphic rock can also result in what? Weathering and erosion. And the same can also be resulted in what? Sedimentary rocks. It forms sediments. Sediments, over a period of time, becomes a rock. It calls it sedimentary rocks. Am I right? And sedimentary rock also, I said, it can become what? Metamorphic rock. Or directly sedimentary rocks can result in melting and become what? Magma. Okay. So, see this. Igneous rock can also become magma. Metamorphic rock can also become magma. Sedimentary rocks can also become what? Magma. Simple logic, right? Look for this diagram. This diagram will give you a larger orientation. So here, this particular topic, what is very important, if you ask me, knowing the three types of rock more than enough. Okay, three types of rock is more than enough. Correct? Okay. Now, my dear friends, coming to this chapter 6, geomorphic process. See here, one thing I understand, NCERT, some of the very important topics are discussed. I'm not denying the fact, but it is not given in an order because geomorphology should start with the geomorphic process. What is geomorphic process? All that process which led to the formation of any landform or modification of a landform, you call them as what? Geomorphic process. This geomorphic process talks about both endogenic and exogenic forces. What is endogenic forces? All set of forces which has their origin from inside the earth, you call them as what? Endogenic forces. Okay. Endogenic forces itself, you can categorize them into diastrophism, right? Very slow process, or that forces which has the, say for example, which can modify the surface of the earth, which can wrap up the surface of the earth. You call them as what? Diastrophic forces. All right. Here again, what you understand? Here again, you study about volcanism. Okay. So what is endogenic forces? Somewhere all the forces which is having an origin from inside the earth. And but let me tell you this, endogenic forces, my dear friends, it is sometimes also called as what? Tectonic forces, right? Okay. They say tectonically controlled. They also call it as what? Tectonic forces. And where exactly I'll be having these endogenic forces, if you ask me, you'll be having these endogenic forces along this plate boundaries as such. Okay. Right. Then you'll be discussing about exogenic forces. What is exogenic forces? All the forces which has their origin from outside the Earth's surface. That is, say for example, largely from the atmosphere. I can call it as what? Exogenic forces. Right? What is the nature of these exogenic forces? What are the different exogenic forces we have? It, if you ask me, right? Weathering is an exogenic forces. Mass movement. Mass movement is nothing but what? Landslide. Right? The larger, say, umbrella term, you call them as what? Mass movement or landslide. It can be a soil creep. It can be a landslide. It can be a soil liquefaction. It can be a lahar. Am I right? It can be anything but mass movement. Right? Landslide, classical example. Right? Then erosion is also a process of what? This exogenic forces. Okay. So what exactly is the force? What is the driving force? I have to understand. Now, my dear friends, We have some agents of gradation. And weathering also, you just concentrate what is weathering and what are the different types of weathering, what is chemical weathering, what is physical weathering, you concentrate. Okay. Biological weathering is also there, you just concentrate, and some of the examples are given. Mass movement, different types of mass movements are given. Okay, right. Somewhere you just go through it. Okay, and erosion and deposition also, what is what they have given it. Okay, right. Fine. And coming to the last topic of the day, what to study and where to study. See, landform and their evolution. We talked about exogenic forces. In exogenic forces, always we talked about agents of gradation. Right? We call them as what? Agents of gradation. What is this agents of gradation? Any agent which has the ability to erode, transport, and deposit, we call them as what? Agent of gradation. Okay. And what are the different agents of gradation? If you ask me, universal agent of gradation is river. Apart from river, I have glaciers. See, this is not static glacier. I am talking about moving glaciers, right? Then I have, say, for example, underground water. To be very precise, I'll call it as what? Underground river. Underground river, not even underground water, underground river. Because all this agent of gradation, what is very common if you ask me? Movement. Movement is very common. If it is not moving, it cannot erode. It cannot transport. Am I right? Then I have sea wave, right? Then I have wind. Okay, these are the 5 agents of gradation. Whenever I talk about landform on their evolution, my friends, we'll be talking about the landforms formed by river, landformed formed by glacier, landforms formed by underground rivers, landform formed by sea wave and wind. Okay, all agents of gradation, as I said, movement will be there. Okay, so first I'll talk about running water. Running water is nothing but what? River. Am I right? So how exactly I should divide it, I'll tell you. Running water will create erosional features. Running water will create depositional features. So somewhere I have to divide this erosional features and depositional features. Okay. So that is what, once you start reading it, somewhere we'll try to understand that what are the different features. Say, for example, it simply says erosional landforms by river. Valley is an erosional landforms. Right? Potholes, plunge pools is an erosional landforms. Am I right? Then say, for example, it comes what? Depositional landforms. Alluvial fan is in depositional landform, right? Deltas are depositional landforms. Floodplains, natural levees, point bars are depositional landforms. Am I right? So if I just take the running water, what are the erosional landforms? What is the depositional landforms? I have to read it. Okay. Then similarly, when I talk about, say, for example, groundwater, underground water. Okay. Same thing. What are the erosional landforms? Right? What are the depositional landforms? That's how I have to differentiate. All right. Again, glaciers, erosional landforms, depositional landforms. Okay. Then again, say, for example, I'll be talking about sea waves, waves and currents, particularly sea waves. The same thing, erosional landforms and depositional landforms. And finally, I'll be talking about what? Wind. Okay. So wind also I'll be talking about erosional landforms and depositional landforms. So 5 agents of gradation. What are the erosional landforms that is created by this agent of gradation? What is depositional landforms created by this agent of gradation? Just underline only the erosional landforms and depositional landforms. That should be more than enough. I repeat again. We have taken 6 chapters, right? Among them, if you ask me what is ultimately important for preliminary examination, I would say, right, chapter number 2, 3, and 4 is very, very important. Go for repeated revision, right? When talk about chapter number 5, 6, and 7, yes, go for revision, but not as many number of revision. Minerals and rocks, I said rocks, 3 types of rocks you concentrate, right? Igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks, and the rock cycle you concentrate. And talk about, say, for example, geomorphic process, what is endogenic force, what is exogenic force? Only that you concentrate. Landforms, I said, 5 agents of gradation, the respective landforms that is created. Erosional landforms and depositional landforms. Of what? River, glacier, underground water, sea wave, and wind. Okay. So that's how your preparation should be. I repeat again, wherever you find italics, revolve around it. That's the term, what you have to underline it, you have to highlight. Okay. Once you read only that particular highlighted words during the revision, your retrieval cues will also strengthen. Okay. Right, my dear friends. Chapter number 8. to 14, we'll take it in tomorrow's class. Okay. So you also read it and come to the, say, for example, somewhere. If you read it and you watch this video, right, chapter number 8 to 14, somewhere, what to look for it, you'll be having a better idea. Okay. Right, my dear friends. Thank you and God bless. Keep yourself motivated. Right. So motivation is the only thing what you can have it within yourself. Right. So motivation is one thing which will make you to sustain this race, my dear friends. So avoid negativity. Keep your motivation always high. And wishing you all the best for your successful career and preparation. Thanks and God bless.